Hey YouTubers, good morning, it's Robb. Guys, this video is for people who are looking for inexpensive, really good calculator. Also for some people who have this particular calculator and think it's crap. When I first got this calculator, I wasn't too happy with it. In fact, I was going to just put it in a drawer somewhere and just buy a different one to replace it. But I did some research and found out that actually the problem was there was just an operator issue. I hadn't read the methods needed to use it properly. Also, I read all of the negative reviews on Amazon, the 1-star reviews. There was quite a few, and as I got into them, really most of them either made no sense or they weren't that important. And so I thought I'd do a review of this particular calculator based on all the negative reviews and to go over them. What I did is I categorized them. Since this is a calculator review and it's a pretty nerdy thing to do, I thought, well, let's embrace my inner nerd. I just wrote down all the 15 different categories of complaints people had and then saw how many there were in each area and went over each one. So we're going to go over the complaints about this particular calculator and why it's really not a crappy calculator. It's one of the best or worst, depending on who is writing the reviews. I think you can get on Amazon for $7 or $8. So I'm going to go over all the negatives that people left on this review, and we'll address them one by one. So if you have this calculator and you're not happy with it, well, I'm pretty sure we're going to go over your top one. The first thing that someone said, I noticed, is they said it didn't lie flat, and this happened to be true. If you have an inexpensive $1 store calculator, it lies flat. But this particular calculator, if you have to do a lot of calculations on one side of the calculator, it wobbles. What I did to solve that temporarily is just to take a note card and cut it or fold it in half and put over, and then it pretty much gets rid of the wobbling. You could also probably put some tape on the bottom, and but it is a flaw. They're not incorrect, and I could see if you did a lot of calculating, that would be an error, an issue you would have, but I think it would be simple to solve. Just get a towel or a washcloth and flat. Probably do the same thing. You could cushion it, and because it's a tiny bit uneven. The second thing someone said is that they said this part wasn't hinged. I don't know where they got that idea that it was hinged. A lot of calculators are, but this one isn't. The other people were complaining because they said the decimal points were at the top of the numerals instead of the bottom. Well, that's just the way this is. It's not a big issue. I don't see where that's a problem. The next one is the number one issue everybody that was complaining seemed to be, this was one of the top issues. They said that you couldn't calculate percentages with this calculator with that hoot. Here's a cheap $1 calculator. It's already broken because the alphanumeric display is kind of broken at the end. But if you do percentages, let's go 100 times 25%. Oh no, excuse me, 100 plus 25%. Let me clear, sorry, 100 plus 25%. You get 125. On the Casio, you do 100 plus 25%. You get a different. Well, that's because the Casio does percentages. This is a tiny bit different. If you want to add or subtract percentages, you're going to be using the function key minus or positive at the end of your calculation, and you're going to multiply first. So we'll do the same calculation. We'll do 100, and we'll go times 25%, then do plus. Oop, let me clear. Make sure it's clear. Okay, it's not clear. Okay, I had something stored. Okay, so do 100 times 25 %. Then do plus. You get 125. If you want to subtract, do 100 times 25% and do subtract. You get 75. So it does percentages excellent. There's no problem with it doing percentages. You just have to remember to enter the plus or minus at the end of your calculation and use the multiplication for the percentage. So the next thing people complained about was that the display, it was unreadable at an angle. I can see it fine. I think what's happening is maybe their battery is low and the alphanumeric display isn't operating correctly because their battery power is low. Next thing people complained about was that it takes a button battery inside. It doesn't have a AAA battery that you can replace easily. These type of calculators, usually with a backup battery, they last a very long time. You do have screws on the back where you can open it up, but the literature says that you're not supposed to take it apart yourself. You should take it to have it serviced, but it's a $7 calculator, so I don't think that's going to happen. I think what I'll do is I'll probably take one of these apart and see how easy it is to replace the battery and do a video on it. But the battery should last a long time, and it's also solar operated. So the next thing people complained about was the memory function. This is one that was aggravating to me, and why I started looking in the comments on the Amazon, because I couldn't figure it out. I couldn't activate the memory keys. Normally, the memory keys are very simple, and you save them, or you do a negative memory, and then you recall the memory at the end. That wasn't working with this calculator. What I found out is in order to activate the memory keys, you have to press the memory recall button twice. Make sure it's all cleared out. Okay, it's all cleared out. Go 2 plus 2 equal memory. 2 plus 2 equal memory. Do recall, and you do the memory. But you have to make sure your memory is completely clear, and you have to make sure you've activated your memory keys. If you haven't cleared out your memory and your memory keys aren't active, then you're not going to get a correct calculation. The reason you have to activate the memory keys is because these keys are also used in the currency conversion and in the taxing function. So that's why that's happening. The next thing people complained about was that they can't return it if they were unhappy, and that is true. I don't think you can return this. Another thing someone complained about was that they put it in their pocket or backpack and it will turn on when this is depressed. Well, I don't know how you can complain about an on button working, but some people were unhappy about that. Another one that was the most important one is there were more than a few people that said that it didn't work at all. There was an issue with the keys not working, or not just the functions, but the keys themselves, physical part, or they had some other issue where it was completely unable to be used. And because they reported right when they got the calculator, Amazon refunded them. Also, a couple of people said they were able to contact Casio and talk to a technician and try to get help, which I thought was pretty cool because this is a $7 calculator. If a company is willing to talk to you about a $7 item, I think that's pretty good a representation of the quality of the material they make. Now, even though there was about a dozen people that said this crapped out on them totally in the 1-star comment section on Amazon, this also had almost, I think, over 6,000 reviews or comments left about the calculator. So at a minimum, this was sold 6,000 times, and I saw like 12 people said that they got theirs and it was broken. So that's a pretty good number if you ask me. Because there's a lot more than 12 or 6,000 people purchased it. because not everybody leaves a review. The next thing was one of the most important ones I wanted to find out. A customer said that after 2 years, their calculator broke down. They opened it up, and the button cell battery had expanded, and it had broken the connection of the wiring, and that caused the calculator to no longer work. And I was concerned about that. So that's why I read every single negative review with the 1 star, and I couldn't find one single other person that said this was something that happened to them. That sounds like a battery issue, not a calculator issue, and I'm pretty sure by now, with like 2017, they would have that corrected. Now, another one, a person complained that when they received the calculator, they were expecting 8 inches and they only got 6 inches. That's what she said. This sounds like a personal problem. A personal issue. Now, the last one was some people said there was no back key. There it is right there. If you do 1, turn on. 1 plus 2 plus 3, do back. Plus 4 equals 7. So you can easily subtract the back key, the last digit. So that's very handy to have. So those are the 15 things people complained about. And like the most important one was the percentage. And like I showed you the correct way to use adding or subtracting a percentage to a number. Also how to activate the memory key by making sure it's clear of memory and then pressing memory twice and then on once, and then you're able to activate the memory keys. And most everything else is either something that can be fixed by putting a piece of paper, or it's just not that big of an issue. I think this is probably an excellent little calculator for $7 by Casio. They've been making them since the 70s. It's a very good calculator. I tell you a funny story about calculators. I'm old. When calculators first came out, imagine a world where there were no calculators. You had to use everything by pencil, paper, pen, or manual keystroke adding machine. That's how banks and businesses performed their calculations. When calculators came out, it was like something that was magical. I knew a guy, my neighbor, he was a salesman. When these things started selling, they sold like hotcakes. It was like a gold mine. He was making tons and tons of money. Every door he walked through, people couldn't give him their money fast enough to buy a calculator to use in their business. And within 9 months, the expansion of the chips and progression and the manufacturer, they lowered the price lower and lower and lower to where before he was selling calculators for $200, $300, $400 a piece. Now they were like $29.99, and he never recovered from that. It's kind of a sad story in one way, but calculators, when they first came out, they were pretty magical. That's hard to believe. Now it's like a consumer item, $1 thing you get at the dollar store and you throw in the garbage when you're done with it. But I expect this to be something that lasts a long time. It's not the price at $7. What's important is when you need a calculator, it's usually you don't have a lot of time and you want something that works. It works well, and it's not going to break down and you can't read the numbers or it's just not working anymore. So I think Casio makes very good products, and I expect this to be something to last a long time. So I hope this was the most nerdy video I've made in a long time. I put on new videos every week. Been doing it for 14 years. Got over 921 videos, a bunch of playlists, a bunch of cool people on my channel I feature. No relation to me. They would deny it anyway. And like I said, put new stuff on every single week on all different types of subjects. All right, guys. Hope this was something helpful to you if you have this particular calculator, or if you're looking for a calculator for your shop at home. And like I said, it has a tax function and a function for converting money. I saw no people complaining about those functions, and I don't use them, so I didn't go over them in this video. But I hope that was something helpful. You guys take care. See you out there.